Hi guys, I hope you're all well what with what has been going on in the world right now, but during this time I've been playing a lot of old games on various old consoles, especially the Super Nintendo, which is one of my all-time favourite consoles. So I decided to list my top 10 games that I grew up playing. Please note, this is just my opinion, as everyone else will have their own favourite games. And there will be some noticeable games missing, as I never grew up playing them. But please leave your top 10 suggestions in the comments below. Now this was really difficult to narrow down to just 10 games, as the Super Nintendo had so many fantastic games. However, this is my list, and starting with number 10, we have Sunset Riders. Now I played this game over and over in the arcades as a kid, and when it was released on the Super Nintendo, I was super excited to get my hands on it. I loved how it was just a brightly coloured, cartoon style, side-scrolling cowboy shoot 'em up, with great graphics and great music. You could play as one of 4 cowboys, either Steve, Billy, Bob and Cormano, as you progress throughout each level, in pursuit of your enemy, aka your bounty. It was just a fun and simple game to play, either on your own or couch co-op with your friends, and my friends and I spent many a weekend playing this game. Konami really made some excellent games back in the day, and this was just one of them, and it's one that I personally felt deserved a place on my list. Coming in at number 9 we have Super Tennis. Now I'm not normally the biggest fan of sports games, but when you find ones that are done well, then that changes my opinion, and this is one of them, as this game was and is still good. As you would expect, you can play as various characters on all surfaces, such as grass, clay and hard courts. But man, this game could be and was really hard, yet it became strangely addictive. You would find yourself saying after yet another defeat, okay, just one more go. This was because the more you played, the more you felt you were actually getting better, and you knew that you would eventually beat that opponent that was blocking your path to glory. However, it was in co-op mode where this game really shone. Playing against a friend who was just as good or bad as you made for some truly epic battles. There was nothing like that 5-minute rally where both you and your friend are on your feet just screaming at the TV while you're being pushed to your limit, only to eventually see that ball drop either in or out of bounds, either sealing that amazing win or crushing defeat. It was just so satisfying. I think over the years there have been a few excellent tennis games on various other consoles, but this was the first that ever made me acknowledge that a tennis game when done well could be this good. Coming in at number 8 is UN Squadron. Now I'd never heard of this game at the time, and I only discovered it by chance, when I was at my friend's cousin's house when we were kids. He asked if I wanted to play it, and of course I said yes. I couldn't believe how good this game was, and I really couldn't believe how I'd never heard of it. This, in my opinion, is one of the best shooters, if not the best side-scrolling shooter on the Super Nintendo. It's a challenging yet simplistic, great-looking aeroplane shooter, where you take out various air and land-based enemies, with a boss at the end of each stage. You can play one of 3 pilots, each with their own special perks, be it being able to power up your weapon faster, or being able to take more damage, or just carry more power-ups at once. Also, to help aid you on your missions, you can purchase additional secondary weapons before you start a mission, and by also obtaining fun power upgrades throughout the levels. This is a must-have if you love shooters, and it definitely deserves a place on my list. Coming in at number 7 we have Super Bomberman. Now I know some people might think this is a controversial choice, but honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed playing this game back in the day. It was the game I could just kick back and relax to, and it became my go-to chill out game. Now that does not mean it was not a challenging game. Even now, as I replay it for the purpose of this video, you still get punished if you take your eye off the ball or get too overconfident. I loved the numerous power-up abilities you could obtain as you progressed, be it the roller skates to make you move faster, or the fire power-ups to make your explosions bigger. But my favourite were the bombs that you could plant and detonate at will. However, the more powerful items you obtained, the more mistakes you would normally make, as you would find yourself taking more risks than you normally would. And more often than not, it wouldn't be an enemy that killed you, rather than you blowing yourself up. The multiplayer aspect of this game was also fantastic. You could have up to 4 players on screen, either played by the computer or your friends, as you went around planting your bombs trying to take each other out. This game has tremendous replay value, as the gameplay never gets old or tiresome. And when you also add in the multiplayer aspect, then this game provided countless hours of entertainment. Hence the reason it makes number 7 on my list. At number 6 we have Super Punchout. Now Punchout is a great game. I own and first played it on the original Nintendo, and it would have a place in my top 10 Nintendo games. Now on the Super Nintendo it's just as good, if not slightly better. It has of course updated graphics, which even now in 2020 still look great, but the gameplay and main objective is still the same. Fight your way through multiple opponents of varying difficulty, each who have their own unique moves and skill sets. Some fights can seem really tough at first, but once you learn their attack patterns, you will find yourself dodging and swaying and counter-attacking like a real pro, as you try and make progress to win the different championship belts. The time attack mode is also a lot of fun, as this allows you to take on any opponents you have already defeated to try and master your skills and better your previous knockout times. I'll admit it, I do enjoy a good boxing game when it's done well, and there have been a number of great ones on various different consoles, and I'm happy to say this is one of them. It's a must play if you've never tried it. At number 5 we have The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and I'm pretty sure this will be many people's number 1. But it's a game I never played until a good while after it was released, as I was never really into RPGs at the time. But when I finally did get around to playing it, I thought it was brilliant, and from what I can remember, I'd never played anything quite like it at the time. I loved the art style, the music, and that kind of unique top-down viewpoint, which I really enjoyed. But it was the questing and exploring that really gripped me. I loved exploring both the outside world, searching for those hidden heart pieces, as well as tackling the numerous dungeons, taking out the various enemies using either your bombs, boomerang, bow, or trusted sword, as you search for that master key to unlock that door to the final boss of the dungeon. This was the game that introduced me to the Legend of Zelda franchise. I'd heard of it on the original Nintendo, but I'd never played it. But this game is the reason I have played and enjoyed every other Zelda game since. So to say it never had an impact on me would be false. And for that reason alone it would deserve a place on my list. But apart from that, it truly is an all-time classic RPG. Coming in at number 4 is Turtles in Time. Now I don't care what anyone thinks, as I think this game is awesome. In the 90s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were super popular and spawned a couple of really good video games. Now I think this is the best Turtles game ever made, and I go as far as saying that I also think it's the best side-scrolling beat-em-up on the console. This, in my opinion, is one of the Super Nintendo's all-time classic games. And when the Super Nintendo Mini came out, I was pretty surprised that it was not included on there. This game had you playing as one of the 4 main protagonists, be it Michelangelo, Raphael, Leonardo or Donatello. And it had almost cartoon perfect graphics, with an upbeat energy-filled soundtrack, along with brilliant sound effects, as well as funny interactive moments within the in-game scenery, be it walking into a plank or falling down a manhole cover, and many more. The gameplay was highly responsive, and it was a near perfect port of the arcade version, and I couldn't get enough of this game as a kid. For the most part, I would always pick Donatello, as he was always my favourite turtle. Don't ask me why, he just was. You made your way through the 10 various levels, either solo or in co-op, fighting against familiar enemies, from the generic foot soldiers to the main bad guys, such as Rocksteady and Bebop, Krang and Shredder, as well as many more. I loved the way you could just throw a foot soldier towards the screen, and how the game actually made a certain level requiring you to actually do this to defeat Shredder, and even now, this still looks great. This to me is a somewhat underrated game in a top 10 list, but for me, I'm happy to see it sit at number 4 on my list. So coming in at number 3 is Super Mario Kart. Now I've never been a big fan of racing games, even to this day I'm still not. I'd never really played them in the arcades, and over the years there've only been a handful of racing games that I've actually enjoyed. So for one to appear in my top 10 list, even for me, seemed unlikely. However, this game was just brilliant. In my opinion, Super Mario Kart had just about everything and more. It looked fantastic, it sounded fantastic, and it played fantastic. It was just brilliant fun to play. You can race at various degrees of difficulty by picking from one of 8 characters to race with, from good old Mario and Luigi, Princess Peach and Yoshi, as well as Bowser and Donkey Kong, along with Koopa Troopa and Toad. My favourite character to play was always Toad. Each character's kart had different capabilities with differing levels of top speed, acceleration or handling, and you had 4 cups to compete for, each which contained 5 tracks to drive around, for a total of 20 tracks, and each track was based upon the various zones or locations from the Mario world. This was another game where 2-player co-op was just so much fun. Yes, you could race against your friends, which was great, but it was nothing compared to the fun you would have in battle mode, where each player would start with 3 balloons around their kart, and the objective was to use the various power-up abilities to destroy them. The first to destroy all 3 of the balloons would be the winner. This was yet another game that possessed tremendous replay value, and rightly sits in my opinion at such a high position on my list. Coming in at number 2 is Super Mario World. Now I've always been a Super Mario fan, ever since I first played it on my original Nintendo. And up until Super Mario World came out, Super Mario 3 had always been my favourite. But when I played this, I realised it was something a bit special, as it took what worked in Super Mario 3 and improved upon that. As per normal in Mario, the objective is quite simple: save Princess Peach by taking out Bowser's 7 Koopa kids, and then Bowser himself. In order to do this, you had to complete a whopping 72 levels, with 24 of them having secret exits, for a total of 96 objectives in the game, all of which had that Nintendo charm and polish. To help you on your journey, of course you got your regular Mario power-ups, from fire flowers to shoot your fireballs, invincibility stars to make you invulnerable, and a cape that allowed you to fly. You were also able to play as Yoshi as a playable mount, which also added an additional aspect to your gameplay. This game had so much to offer and was just great value for money back in the day. Even to this day, I think it's one of the best Mario games ever made, and it really does stand the test of time. Even now in 2020, this game is still fantastic, and if you've seriously never played it, then you really should, as it's an all-time classic. So finally at number 1 we have Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now as a kid I loved my beat 'em ups, and at the arcades I would play every single beat 'em up available. But Street Fighter 2 Turbo was always the one for me. This in my opinion is one of the best beat 'em ups / fighting games ever made, and it was always my go-to game growing up as a kid. Never has a game consumed so many hours of my childhood. It actually got to the point where I would play this game so much that my left thumb would become so sore from using the D-pad, I would have to play with a plaster on it. For my American viewers, that's a band-aid. It's the only game that's ever done that. I played this game so much, it was ridiculous. I don't really have that much to say about the game, as I loved everything about it, as in my opinion, everything just worked. I loved the music, the graphics, the sound effect, the gameplay, all the different characters to pick from, and the speed. Oh my god, the speed. I think I can still remember the code of down R up L Y B on controller 2 that you could quickly input at the beginning of the game when the Street Fighter 2 logo appeared. This would give you the fastest speed possible in the game, which I'm pretty sure allowed you to increase the game's turbo mode up to 10 stars. For those that don't know, each star increased the game's speed, and this for me was just so enjoyable. The single player mode was just a heck of a lot of fun, and I'd spend hours just going through the game with multiple characters. But some of my best memories with the game were with my friends, where we would just sit and have weekend tournaments, just sitting in my bedroom playing Street Fighter with the radio on in the background, eating junk food and just having an all-round great time. Not only was this game great, it also gave me some of the best and most fun times with my friends. And I have no issues with this being number 1 on my list. Anyway guys, that was my top 10. I'm sure some people will completely disagree with my choices, and that's okay, as this is my personal list. But I'd really love to hear your top 10s, so please do leave them in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please also like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.